up, boys and girls? Undertaker Freak 1127 here. And you really wouldn't want to watch one of my videos if I talk like this the entire time, right? So why should you have to listen to it in your music? Okay, you probably already know where this is going. Now, you hear me derogate a lot of bands and musicians out there. You hear me talk about a lot of music I don't like, and conversely, you hear me talk about a lot of music I do like. But for the most part, you hear me talk shit about Nickelback, Broken Side, ICP especially. Oh my god. You hear me talk shit about Kesha, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, people that I consider talentless, Slipknot. Okay, you hear me talk about a lot of bands I hate and bands I like Metallica, Chevelle, Green Day, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple. You hear me talk a lot about bands that I love as well. And you also hear me talk about a lot of the shitty practices a lot of producers and bands are using, such as auto-tune. That's the biggest tool that a lot of talentless singers these days use to make themselves sound better on recordings. Auto-tune. They're even making light of it in TV commercials these days. It's becoming that prevalent, okay? The fact is, I love music, and the reason I like a lot of bands that I like is because I like their musicianship and the things that they use, and more importantly, the production on their albums. I don't like to listen to crap, okay? However, there is one thing conspicuous by its absence that I have not really talked about, not even in my live shows very much, and it's something called the Loudness War. The Loudness War. The Loudness War. Basically, bands trying to grab attention, singers trying to grab attention, grab you by the balls. Actually, grab you by the eardrums and suck you in because they think if they play things louder, that'll get more attention than a band that's actually paying attention to the dynamic range in their songs and paying attention to the little nuances that you otherwise could not hear if you were playing it loud as hell, mixing it loud as hell. This kind of thing had its roots back in the 70s or 80s on jukeboxes. Bands would start putting out the, little 7-inch vinyls that they would start making them louder. Because you make them louder, people in the bar who are dancing around having a good time will listen to the louder song because it's very loud in the bar. You gotta fucking yell even to be heard remotely. So they started producing their albums louder, so they get more attention, thusly getting more attention on the radio. More radio plays, radio hits, all that kind of shit, okay? And these days, it stays, and it stays. In fact, the biggest example, to me anyway, the thing that really got me interested in hating this Loudness War was Metallica's Death Magnetic. I put Death Magnetic in my computer, and my computer fucking froze because it was taking up so much memory on my speaker. I don't know what it was. I have shitty laptop speakers, okay, and I had it up halfway. It was so fucking loud. That snare of Lars Ulrich, every time the snare would hit, my computer would freeze. It was that loud. The other problem with the Loudness Wars is always something overpowering something. The snare overpowering the guitar, guitar overpowering the drums, bass overpowering... Well, bassists are always fucking, given to shit these days, so you never can hear the bass. And that's another problem, too. I love bass, and I can never, like, the bass guitar. I can never hear the bass guitar anymore. Why? Because everything else is this fucking loud! I put Death Magnetic on in my car. I had to crank that shit down to the last 2 little bars on the volume thing. Why? Because I saw old women on the street while I was passing them next to me. It was so goddamn loud, even at halfway, that they started losing their footing and tumbling ass over tea kettle. That loud. Why do bands need to be that loud these days? Because of pressure from the music company, from the record producers who want to hear louder music because that's a cool thing to do these days? Fuck the record producers! Okay, well, that doesn't get a band very far these days. Anyway, you know what I mean. The Loudness War fucking sucks. I'm tired of hearing everything being pushed lower and lower down on the dBFS scale, sometimes to negative fucking 4 dBF. There is no need for that. There is no need to have something that loud, and there is no need to get rid of this thing called dynamic range. You may have never heard of it, and there's a reason, because no one gives a fuck about dynamic range, because a lot of bands and a lot of little kids like these days, a lot of teenagers, little rebel teenagers who want to crank their music up so loud to piss off the neighbors and have them call the police just so they can tell the police, I don't care. All these little rebel teenagers running around with their Broken Side t-shirts and their ICP t-shirts and their fucking Avril Lavigne shirts don't give a fuck about dynamic range because they only want to hear it loud. Dynamic range is simple. It's the intricacies. It's the little nuances you can hear within the song. There's not much difference between quiet and loud in these records anymore, and that's what dynamic range is. You need to have that balance, and there's none of that balance. Why am I making this? John, why are you making this video? You sound like you're just rambling randomly. Well, it's very simple. If I'm going to go after shitty music... if I'm going to go after shitty musicians who use these shitty practices, and I hear my favorite bands doing it these days, I have to go after them as well. You know, that thing that I mentioned about, in the Metallica video. You don't like to go after the bad things in bands you love. But now that's what I'm doing. Chevelle, Metallica, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. Some of my favorite fucking bands are doing this, and it sucks. My basic statement is this. Stop it! It sucks. It's taking all of the music out of music. Educate yourselves on this. Let your friends know. Let people know how bad this sucks. Tell everybody how bad this sucks. Maybe we can get something done about it. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that it really, 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 really fucking sucks. And yeah, if I'm going to go after shitty bands, I got to go after my favorite bands who do the exact same thing that they're doing. I mean, shit. Axl Rose even. An asshole like Axl Rose, he was given 3 pressings of Chinese Democracy by the producers. He picked the quietest one because even Axl Rose knows that the Loudness war sucks. I was as shocked as you may be from hearing that very statement. It's horrible. It's just... Dynamic range is gone. Things are being pushed closer to that 0 dBFS range. I mean, come on. I know a lot of music's becoming digital, and hopefully the digital music providers will provide some ways to heal this and fix this. Who knows? It is yet to be seen. But educate yourselves on this. I don't know. Write your congressman. No, it's not going to work. But yeah. Yeah, I'm going after the bands I love. I'm just going after the music industry as a whole. If you really need that much attention, if you need to be louder to get more attention, that probably means you are either insecure with your abilities as a band or you suck. If you have good music and a good fan base and your fan base doesn't care what you do, you shouldn't have to press it louder. You shouldn't have to get that attention. You already have the attention of your fans. Yeah. So educate yourselves on this and spread the word. The Loudness war fucking sucks. Tell them Undertaker Freak sent you. Or someone else, you probably already heard about this before, but I'm just making this video to throw my hat in the ring of Loudness war hatred. Have a good day, folks. Ah!